Hi, welcome everyone back to Fallen Dragons RPG YouTube channel or on the podcast, depending on how you were listening to this. Today we have something a little different from what we've been doing. We have been doing a couple of campaigns. We have been doing 5e and we have also been starting a mage campaign. Those are currently on hiatus for a little while. And we thought that we would do maybe start of something, or maybe it's just a one off or one or two games. We'll see how it goes. We are going to be starting another 5e game. This one is going to be GM'd by myself, Rowain Flynn, and it is entitled The Bird in the Basement. I will go ahead and let everyone introduce themselves and give a little brief synopsis about the character that they are going to be playing. So let's see, we'll go in order that you're on my screen. So that starts with Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm going to be playing Tarla. She is a half-orc fighter.
All right, up next is Pat.
Hi, I'm playing Snix, the Lost Fairy. She's a fairy warlock.
All right, Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh. I will be playing Crow, the human, half tiefling warlock of the Hexblade.
All right, and that leaves Jordan.
Um, I'm playing Leolis. It's a monk fairy.
So, two fairies.
All right, very heavy party.
He left the Feywilds, and on the boat that he left them on, he met me while I was a pirate on that boat.
So he's a pirate fairy.
I'm a pirate fairy, yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Pirate fairy monk.
All right. So, just to get you started, a little idea of what is going on and where your characters are. Your characters are currently traveling together. You've come together as a group because you're all, in some way, shape, or form, a part of performing for a royal wedding. So you have been hired to be entertainment for the reception after the wedding. It is approximately 48 hours before the wedding is supposed to be taking place, and you have just gotten into the gates, into the kingdom proper. The castle is off in the distance near the mountains, and this kingdom is called the Kingdom of Montan Blanche. So it is a kingdom known for having very strong ties to the local dwarves of the mountains, pretty much in trading. So there are a lot of intermingling of dwarven and humans, along with, the normal spattering of weird other races that happen in a kingdom's capital. So you know that the people being married is the prince, who is the uh, expected heir. He is an only child. That is Prince Phaedron Fontainebleau. He is 20 years old, and he is marrying his, I would say, long time, but it's not all that long in regards, about a year girlfriend, Ava Porter. You know that it is part of kind of royal gossip, and kind of an aside and lots of jokes made, because he is obviously very royal and she is not. She is very much a commoner of a commoner. But for all, regardless of all of that, you are on the way to help celebrate their nuptials. You've already gotten inside the gate. The guards have let you in. However, you've noticed that they seem a little on edge and a little uneasy, but they also seem very busy. So they've just kind of checked your papers, checked off that you're supposed to be there, and kind of, shushed you through the gate and are on to process more people coming in. It is towards the evening. The sun has already started to dip behind the mountains, and the closest things you see on the street in front of you are an inn and a bunch of shops that are getting ready to close up for the day. And that is where I'm going to let you guys take over.
Gosh, I thought that was going to be harder. I guess they haven't heard of me.
Yeah, I hope that they haven't heard of you. I haven't heard of you, so
Well, hi, I'm Snicks.
Crow. We've been traveling this whole time. I know your name, but I just don't know who you are.
Oh, you know, I've been around.
Okay. Well, let's consider getting a room at the inn, I'd imagine. It is getting dark.
I, for one, want some ale.
Yeah, let's get the fairy some ale. I want to see a drunken fairy.
Drunken Fairy!
So I will lead the way to the inn.
All right. As you approach the inn, you see over the door there is a very old looking name placard that declares that it is the Liverow Family Inn. In very faded letters, it looks like it needs a good coat of paint to bring it back to life. Um, as you enter, it is very apparent that they were expecting way more people than are actually currently in the inn. And the innkeeper is kind of just looking at the bar, looking to the tables that are empty, looking at all the beer steins that he's put out that aren't being filled. But as soon as you walk in, his eyes light up and he is more than willing to welcome you in and is, in fact, frantically waving you over to the bar.
Is there anything other than the bar that we can pay attention to?
There are lots of tables that are set up. In fact, it looks like they were expecting almost kind of a party to be happening, perhaps, with candles and things already on the table and place settings already made, but nobody's actually sitting at them. What you assume would probably be his wife is standing in the doorway of the kitchen looking very annoyed at the whole situation.
I guess we head over to him, right?
Yeah, I'll approach the bar.
Yeah, I'll head to the bar.
I fly over to the bar immediately and ask for some ale.
The innkeeper's face lights up and he's more than happy to start pouring ale, and he is like, I'm just so happy that you've decided to come in on. I mean, I know it's a very somber day, but I had all this prepared and it seems a shame for it to go to waste. My wife has been cooking for over a week now for this whole event, and
What
gosh,
kind of
it's
food is
just a
available?
shame.
What kind of food is there that I can have with my ale?
Oh, well, sir, we have lots of things. If you love cheese, you have come to the right
Oh,
place.
wow. Yeah.
Let's see. My wife has been working on her very famous cheesecake. And also, this is going to sound silly, but we call it in our family cheese pie. It
Uh,
may mostly be just a giant wheel of brie in a pie shell, but I assure you, it's delicious.
I want some of that
Yeah,
immediately.
it sounds good.
Does it come with crackers?
Usually people just pour a bit of honey over the top and just eat it with a fork, but I'm sure for my wonderful paying customers, we can find some crackers.
I'm sure it'll go well with this ale.
About that payment, we are performers. Would you like us to perform for our meals?
He looks out past your shoulders at the empty inn and then looks back at you and goes, "So I see you're the comedian? That's what you're performing?"
No, I'm a student of the elemental arts, but I could try some comedy if you think that would work. I don't know if it would really hit in this environment, but
You should probably just put him on the street corner to, like get some guests in here.
I have money. I can pay with money.
I also have money, but like paying
yeah,
for things.
I'll pull out
Well,
a gold piece and put it
Insult.
on the table and be like, "I'm just joking with you."
you know, I I almost appreciate it. It's very sad times. He starts to pour everybody a drink as his wife goes off
So
to get
when you
food.
say sad times, I think that means we're not going to get paid for performing at the wedding.
Well, I'm
Um,
wondering what you mean by sad times. This is a wedding we're supposed to be attending. What makes that sad? It's a
oh,
wedding. It's supposed to be a happy occasion.
oh, have you just now gotten to the city?
Yes.
Oh, so you don't know. Yeah, I'm afraid that you probably aren't gonna get paid by the royal family for your services unless they go with a rather untraditional format for a funeral.
Uh,
That's literally my specialty.
Funeral. So not a wedding then?
Oh no, I'm certain there will not be a wedding now. Gosh, I hate to be the one to break the news to everyone, but King Harold is dead.
I didn't think kings could die.
King Harold is dead. He was murdered.
Kings can die?
Do they know who killed him?
Well, I hate
Did
to
this
be the
happen
one to
today?
spread gossip, but well, so what I've heard is during the engagement party, the engagement feast that they held last night, the king fell headfirst into the pheasant he was presented and is assumed to be poisoned. Later, they saw Ava, the fiance, get pulled aside by one of the guards, and a bottle fell out of her bodice, and she was dragged off towards the dungeons.
Oh.
well, if we
I
want
don't
there to
know
be
if
a
it's
wedding,
true,
then
but
I was here for to be paid for a wedding. I don't think we're getting paid, guys.
there's supposed to be an
I
official
slowly
decree.
remove the the gold piece and pull out a couple silver instead.
There's supposed to be a royal decree that's put out sometime this evening, but I don't know when it will be. I've sent my son up to wait for it so he can bring it back so we can know. We can all find out together if you're still here and eating.
That will be interesting.
Well, I guess we should wait. I mean,
Yes.
So I guess make it two cheese pies.
His wife comes out of the kitchen not too long after that, and basically has brought you an entire cheese pie with a big knife to cut it however you want, um, and has given you assorted plates and other little like nibbly bits to put on the pie. You know, nuts, seeds, honey, whatever sweet things she had in the kitchen. She tells you to dig in and says, there's plenty more where that came from. There's going to be nothing but a kitchen full of rotting cheese if business doesn't pick up. This may be the worst thing that's ever happened for our finances in decades. She does not seem very heartbroken about the situation.
Well, yeah, somebody killing their father-in-law before the wedding doesn't sound like a good thing necessarily, if that's what did happen.
right. Hmm. I wonder. Well, I have done some work as an investigator before. Maybe we could sell our services as investigators to figure this all out?
I wasn't doing anything else. We need to have a wedding to get paid.
Yeah. I'm sure I mean, from what I've heard, she's not the sort that would be a murderess.
Sounds pretty cut and dried, but I suppose it could be a setup.
While you're discussing if you want to proceed as investigators, the door to the inn flies open, and a very winded young man comes flying in the door with a roll of parchment in his hands. He runs up to the bar, to the innkeeper, and says, I got it. They released the information.
Uh,
So he takes the scroll from the boy, unrolls it, and starts to read out loud. And he says, by the presumptive king, Prince Phaedron Fontainebleau, hereby announces the death of his father, King Harold Fontainebleau, slayed by his ex-fiancée, Ava Porter. Execution to follow in 3 days at noon.
well, 3 days is a very short time to try and figure this all out, but perhaps we should proceed up to the castle and offer our services as investigators to see if maybe she was working with someone else or something.
The boy is overhearing you as he's trying to catch his breath, and he's making very short eye contact with each of you, and then looking nervously at his father, and then back to you as if he's waiting for his father to go do something else.
I say something to the effect of, "Hey, innkeeper, could you get us some fresher ale? This tastes a little bit off and skunky."
What? It shouldn't. I just cracked this cask myself today.
It may have
He
been something
takes
in the cask then.
he takes a small sip of some freshly poured from the cask, makes a face, and says, I should have never trusted him. And then puts the cask under his arm, puts it on the ground, and rolls it out of the room. His son kind of slumps his shoulders in relief and says, Hey, can you guys kind of handle yourselves?
Yeah, we're quite skillful for the performing arts.
Okay, well, performing arts. Well, maybe you guys aren't what I'm looking for.
Oh,
I shoulder the
what are you
flail
looking for?
and
I'm a
point to the great
fighter.
axe that the fighter is carrying.
Okay, well, maybe. I honestly don't want this burden on me anymore. So, if nothing else, it'll become your responsibility now. So while I was getting this announcement, I
Tell
was
us your sins,
approached.
child.
I was approached by a hooded figure, and I couldn't see who they were or even what they were. Um, they were a very hulking figure. I don't think they were human. Um, and told me that the princess to be, I don't know why he called her a princess. They're not even married yet, but that the princess to be was innocent and that she needed someone to get to her so that she could prove her innocence. I don't even know why they chose me, but I guess I was the only one that noticed them.
Hmm, the plot thickens. I
I can't help her. I am nothing. I am just, I'm going to take over this inn, and that's the only thing I know. So I don't want the responsibility.
Well, if there's a chance she's innocent, we should do something to try to help her.
indeed. Let's I I pull out another silver and say, "Here, this is for your father to let him know that we are willing to get rooms for the night when we get back."
Oh, thank you, sir. I'll Well, I would say I'd put you down in the ledger, but I think everybody else is canceled, so I think we can fit you in somewhere.
All right. And then I motion to my friends here, or my acquaintances, and say, let's head up to the castle and see what we can see.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Scared of anything.
This is actually the biggest castle I've ever seen.
How many castles have you seen before this?
Nut. Wait, you know.
They are fairly large, so yes, let's let's enjoy ourselves on the way there. I'll try to paint this castle when I'm done.
You're gonna paint the castle?
A picture of it in my painting book.
Oh.
Oh, cool.
All right, so on the way to the castle, again, as you noticed before, once you've gotten through the gate, the streets are pretty empty. It seems that for the most part, people are kind of staying indoors, the normal morning kind of activities. Though there is, as you get closer to the castle, notably more guard activity with them kind of pacing around and looking a bit lost.
Yeah, let's try to mostly avoid the guards if we can on our way there, but not so much that we look suspicious.
I
Well,
specifically don't fly, and I wear a cloak.
what's our goal here? Are we trying to talk to the king, or are we trying to talk to the wood
Well, do
people?
you know necromancy? Because the king's dead.
Oh, right, yeah. The king, well, there's the prince, the new prince.
Yes.
I
And then
think what
there's
we're trying to do is get into the
girl.
to the girl.
How about everybody gives me a perception roll?
Okay.
I got a 14 plus 6. I got a 20.
I got a
Uh,
4.
I got a 20, surprisingly.
21.
2 20s and a 21.
You got a 20, huh? Okay.
I rolled a 19 and have a +1.
Nice.
My character is instead looking for something shiny.
Yeah, so I got a 20, Robin got a 21. So we're the what did you get, Jordan?
I got a 20.
You got a 20?
Yeah.
Okay, and a 4. Congratulations, Pat. You're the only one to spot it.
So you notice that between two of the more broken down buildings on the way towards the castle, that there is someone watching you. Someone wearing a cloak over their face and kind of keeping most of themselves out of sight, but every now and then you're seeing their cloaked face pop out between the buildings.
Are they a hulking figure?
I say, hold on, I'm gonna go ask him why he's looking at us. And I fly over there and ask him that. Hey, you, why are you looking at us? What do you want?
The figure is going to pull its cloak closer around its and say, "Ugh, normally people aren't so easily attracted to where I am. I
I'm
guess
a
this means this is where you're the people that I should be talking to, though."
Yeah, I'm
I'm a
gonna
fairy.
wander over towards him and be like, I'm sorry for my associate.
We're hoping to help the situation that's gone on recently. We think of ourselves as investigators.
I'm going to ask this very seriously because I will just kill anyone who lies to me. Are you all trustworthy?
No.
Actually, I've known these people for a long time now. We're all very trustworthy.
Roll a persuasion.
Okay. My charisma's bad. 8 minus 1, 7.
Yeah, about that I'm going to kill you thing.
No. So he doesn't speak for or for even himself. Don't worry. He's correct though. I believe we are all trustworthy. I was just joking when I said no.
Maybe the two fairies are a little bit less trustworthy. Honestly, our race is a little fickle. But we're trustworthy enough. Leave me know.
I noticed two of you haven't spoken for yourselves.
I was just going to say, in my opinion, I believe Crow and I at least are trustworthy. I would agree that I'm not sure about the fairies.
If you pay me now, it'll establish confidentiality and a few other binding agreements, and then I'm good as gold. But if you don't give me any money, you probably can't trust me. Just fair's fair.
He
I'm also
snorts
worried.
through his nose and says, "You're actually very lucky you have a half-orc in your midst." And he pulls his hood down, and you see that he is a very disfigured half-orc.
I mean, you're lucky
It,
we don't have any elves in our midst.
Yeah.
it looks like he has seen the rough end of a magical duel. Like, it's not so much scars as maybe his nose used to be in a different place and it got magicked away, but he got it back, but not quite where it used to be.
You.
Okay.
His eyes aren't exactly on the same level. One's a little bit to the right, one's trying to go up a little bit. Like, it's not terrible, but it is very disconcerting.
What's wrong with you? No.
I wouldn't not do that.
Yeah.
Are you feeling okay, sir?
He sighs and said, "It's the eye, isn't it?"
Yes.
It's always the eye.
Nose.
Look, that's a story for another time. But the main story here is that I know for a fact that the princess to be is, well, she's innocent. She had to have been, well, she had to, I guess, framed would be the best way to put it. There is no way that she did any of this. But I need her to be able to prove her own innocence. If I do it, well, I have kind of a vested interest in this whole thing. Nobody will believe me. But I know she didn't do it
So
for
she needs
certain.
to prove her innocence from inside of a jail cell while scheduled for execution.
That's
No
where you
biggie.
come in.
Can we have an audience with the princess? Or the girl?
You see, if it were that simple, I would have just asked around for someone to walk down there. Um, I don't think going through the guards is going to be the best plan. She is locked up tight. Regicide is very serious, as you can probably imagine.
How many guards do you think there are?
How many guards do they have guarding her? That I don't know. I do know that the captain of the guard was set outside the dungeon proper to keep people out, though, and good luck getting through him. He would be a challenge even for me. He would definitely be my match.
Do you have
The
any suspicions of who might have tried to set her up?
lo- you pick a name in this kingdom. Nobody, except for the common people, liked that she was a commoner.
Hmm.
She was bringing inferior blood into a very pure lineage. I mean, his mother is a Habsburg.
Oh, indeed.
You know, they're incredibly pure bloodlined, and to suddenly throw what people saw as mud into the gene pool, well, that just wouldn't stand for a lot of the nobles. Not to mention the royal family. There were cousins coming out of the woodwork begging for the prince to marry them instead of, well, that commoner.
Yeah. I mean, can't have commoners getting uppity.
Let's one thing we could try doing is getting thrown in prison and then fighting our way out.
Hey,
Well,
that's not a bad idea.
I do have one option if you want to take it. Well, there are several options that I see. There is convincing the guard to let you in, however you want to do that. Um, I will say the captain of the guard, don't get on his bad side, but he is also not necessarily the smartest person in this kingdom. He's not completely dumb, not by far. In fact, I'm pretty certain on your journey you're going to meet someone much dumber than him. But he's, you know, I believe the term is a bit of a meathead.
So we should ask him what his opinion is on all of this.
There is also some forgotten derelict tunnels into the dungeon. I'm not 100% on where they lead exactly into the dungeon, but it will get you in there, and probably they haven't thought to seal those off yet.
I like the tunnels. That sounds a lot easier than convincing the captain of a guard that's a meathead to. Where would these tunnels be? Or the entrance to them?
Well, one of them is actually right next to the royal stable. So it used to be a tunnel that would be kind of an emergency escape for the royal family if they needed it, and they could get directly to their horses and get out. But if I remember correctly, it's kind of fallen into disarray, and really there's been better methods, magical methods of getting out. So it's just kind of been boarded up and forgotten about. I don't think they've thought to brick it over or anything yet. Um, it should still be there. It just looks like kind of a derelict, forgotten mine shaft that's just in this hill next to the stable. Now, how many guards and such are at the stable? I don't know.
Well, we can
You
try to
wouldn't want
sneak
to
our way
hurt
back.
any guards.
Yeah. I say, yeah, no hurting guards.
I am
That's.
trained in stealth.
Are any of the rest of us any good at stealth? I'm not.
And no, +2 on stealth.
The only other option that I can think of, and I've been racking my brain on this, is you could try going to the prince himself and seeing if you can talk into any sense into him. He is very distraught over this whole thing, though, and he has been very harshly just assuming that she's guilty. Which I mean, she does look guilty. I just know it can't be true.
I think we
Okay.
should talk to the prince.
So we have a vote for talking to the prince, we have a vote for talking to the meathead, and we have a vote for entering the tunnels. What do you think, Halfling?
I say tunnels.
Tunnels? So that's 2 for tunnels.
Tunnels.
To the
Hey.
tunnels.
To the tunnels!
All right, cool. That me then. I'm the one with. So my plan is to sneak in there and talk to her without anyone noticing.
I think we can just hopefully get through these and avoid the guards if we just watch them for a while. Because there can't be that many patrolling the stables when they need to lock down the rest of the actual castle.
Why don't we scare them away with a scary music and illusion of a terrible thing?
I think they'd come fight the terrible thing. They're guards. That's sort of their
Not if
job.
it's invisible. They don't get paid enough for that.
All right, so are you all heading for the stables?
Sure.
I think so.
All right, your hooded figure is going to motion for you to follow him, and he's going to lead you down some back alleys behind some places that pretty obviously this is where the local populace pours their chamber pots out in the morning. You're just going to have to tread lightly. He makes a face and says, I know, but the guards don't like coming back here.
Smells like home.
I prestidigitate my shoes clean every time I step in something.
I decidedly don't step on something.
You notice that even though he's very obviously wading through some very terrible looking suspicious fluids, that not a drop ever is seeming to touch him, and he seems perfectly fine. Eventually he leads you through the back alleys, and there's this large open field that looks like it's the beginning of the paddock. He points off towards the north and says, if you follow around this wall here, you will eventually come to the stable. I would assume, it's been a while since my military days, but I would assume they're preoccupied other places, so I would not think there were many guards out here in the paddock or by the stable. If one of them happened to remember that there's a way in, but I very much doubt it. That's pretty much way above their pay grade.
All right. I want.
So, gonna all try to go in?
Yeah, we're all gonna try to go in, but I want to send the stealth fairy ahead to watch for guards and warn us if there are any guards.
So I'll go first.
Yeah, you go
Oh,
first, stealth fairy.
I almost forgot. Before I leave you, um, which one of you is the least likely to lose an important item?
I point to the half orc.
Okay, put out your hand.
As I do.
He drops about an olive size stone in your hand, and as it warms up to your body heat, it starts to emit a fairly bright light. So it works basically in time to a heartbeat. If you hold it and you have a heartbeat, it will produce a light. If you put it in your pocket, if you put fabric, if you put metal, if you put anything between your skin and the stone, it will not emit light. This is important. If you want to be seen, don't rub the worry stone in your pocket.
Probably got a tracking spell or something on it. I'm on to you.
Right. Well, anything else you have questions of me before I leave?
What's the range on the tracking spell?
Oh, I wanted to know why you were so sure that the princess couldn't have done it.
Some things are best seen for themselves. And with that, there's a whoosh of his cloak and he's gone.
Well,
Damn, I was gonna ask what was wrong with his face.
I was going to ask if there was anything in the
There's
tunnel
a
that
garbled
could feed us.
half-orc voice that says, I heard that.
so next, I guess I roll stealth as I go into the tunnel.
Yeah, you're going to the tunnel to make sure that there are no guards near the tunnel stealthily.
Okay, so
Right now
first
you're in a large paddock and you can just barely make out the stable in the background. There are like 3 or 4 horses that are just kind of milling around and eating outside of the stable. It looks like they've been let out and maybe in the confusion they haven't been put up in their stalls for the night.
Let's avoid those horses because someone's gonna come collect them at some point.
no one's there yet.
Free horse!
Um, so I guess we all just walk over to it then.
Yeah, let's approach it, watching carefully for any guards.
Okay, we do that.
Okay. There are suspiciously not really any guards around. Although you do kind of see them off in the distance to your west. They seem to be like making rounds around the castle itself, but they're not really paying attention to um, much. Although there is at one point you have to duck down when one of the guards obviously points towards the paddock and goes, "Hey, horses!"
Bright guard.
And then the other one goes, "They should be in for the night. We need to tell somebody to go get those in. Those are prized mares."
So we should probably all go into the secret passageway before they notice us. Then,
What was that?
so should we all go into the secret passageway
Yeah,
before
let's.
they notice us? Then,
Yeah, we're trying to go to the secret passageway right now. They hopefully haven't noticed us, and we need to move quickly before the horses get taken in because, well, they'll notice us if we're in the paddock while we're doing that.
Right.
I'd craft them to walk into their stalls so that they're away and no guards have to come over.
Yeah, I'll project the illusion of a sound of a someone calling a horse into the stalls.
All right.
Should I roll
All
performance or
you
something?
should roll performance for that. Yes. How well can you imitate that call?
21.
All right. In fact, with a 21, you perfectly imitate the excited mating call of a male stallion, and all four of the mares prick up their ears, prance excitedly, and run towards the stables.
Dude, I didn't even cast the spell yet.
I did. I illusioned them.
All right, so around the stable itself, you notice there are several like little hilled areas. Definitely not big enough to be hills, but they all generally look like the kind of thing that might have something hidden in them. But you don't see the derelict like mine entrance that you were promised.
Great. Let's search around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, do we want to roll some investigates?
Sure.
Yeah. I got a 13.
15.
Also 15.
Oh, 18.
18 on your investigate? Don't you have a
Yeah.
penalty to your intelligence?
Oh, 19.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you're able to discern that one of the hills looks just a little more misshapen than the others. If you go up and as you prod around where it's misshapen, you feel that the soil is definitely looser and it almost feels like the sod over top of it is more of like a fabric over it and the roots haven't really grown into the dirt below it.
I start jumping on it.
You're a
Do you
fairy.
actually do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Opening it.
All right, well, roll me a dexterity check.
Him for jumping or me trying to open it?
Him for jumping on it.
A 13?
A 13. On your third jump on the way back down, you break through and tumble down 20 feet into the tunnel below.
I can fly, so I just float down.
Okay. I'm going to assume that you remember you can fly at the very last second.
Right before he crashes.
I knew I could fly when I started jumping on it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, but you didn't use it to the very last second to scare the crap out of the rest of everyone here.
Of course, it's falling with style.
I fly down after him.
I'll move the the fabric if I can find a good handhold on it now that we can
It's
see
just
inside?
it's just sod. It's just when you fresh put down sod, it doesn't it acts like a fabric. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
attach immediately to the ground underneath.
So yeah, I'll just rip up the sod a bit and try to make a small hole for us to enter. I don't
Okay.
want to leave a giant hole because I don't want them to notice immediately if we have to be in here for a while.
Smart.
All right. Are all of you in the tunnel then, or getting in the
Yeah.
tunnel?
Slide in. Yeah.
So not all of you can fly.
I have
So
rope.
you have rope. How's the
Yes.
half orc getting down?
Oh, I'll just tie the half orc to the rope too.
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
Lower her down.
Yeah.
All right. The tunnel is uncomfortably humid and moist and smells like moss and mold and just gross dirt stuff. And it's very dark. There is no light, there's no candle, there's no magical illumination of this tunnel. Basically can't see your hand in front of your face.
Well, I tell them all to keep close to me because I have the stone things. I should emit a little bit of light, and I have dark vision.
I have a sword that lights up.
You what?
The moon touched longsword.
Oh yeah.
It's an item.
It's a common magic item. Cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. I stand over near the fairy with it.
I light a torch.
It's a sword that lights up. It's
Yeah, but at this
all it
level, it's basically a slightly sharpened glow stick.
Yeah.
All right.
It's lightsaber.
So the light doesn't reveal anything that your nose didn't already tell you. It's a mess of jumbled roots and moss that's just been trying to overgrow this tunnel for a very long time. There's also, in some places, what looks like it could just be puddles or it could just be sinkholes filled with water. Um, you can't really see where this tunnel is going. You're just going to have to kind of trust your gut that this is going into the dungeon.
Ah, smells like home.
Your home smells very strange.
Are we able to stand upright in this tunnel, or is it really low ceiling? Are we bent over or crawling?
It is just tall enough for a moderately tall human to stand upright in. So if you're taller than that, you're probably hunched over a little bit.
I'm only 5'9", so I'm fine.
Yeah. I would say that it's about 6'5" would just fit in the tunnel.
I think I'm 3 feet tall.
Yeah, you're a
You're
fairy.
Fairy spit.
I think I can still fly here.
It's also about 2 humans' widths wide, so it's not very wide.
Okay.
Definitely was an emergency situation and not something meant to be used every day.
Or again, apparently.
Yeah. All right.
I guess we start moving down the tunnel.
Yeah.
All right, as you're moving down the tunnel, you start to notice that sometimes there's, of course, the strange sounds of moss squishing underneath your feet, the tearing of roots as you have to push past things, but you also hear the unsettling sound of moving soil.
Hmm.
And it
That's
seems to be
unsettling.
getting closer to you as you're going, but it doesn't sound like it's getting closer to you ahead or behind. It sounds like it's getting closer to you through the walls.
Man, shark!
Guys, don't touch the light.
I will make sure that I've got my torch ready to try and poke whatever comes out of the wall if it jumps us. Maybe it'll be afraid of fire. Most things are.
I guess we continue walking.
Try and move a little faster there.
Let's hustle.
Yeah, we pick up the pace.
All right. Do any of you have any like greater than normal speed for your walking?
No.
No.
Okay. So as you're getting probably maybe 30 more seconds into the tunnel, you hear the sound of moving dirt become almost overwhelming to your right in the wall, and then it suddenly goes silent.
Okay. So I'm going to prepare myself to cast a spell the second something comes out of that wall and motion for everyone to stop
Guys, maybe we should try to
and
get.
spread away from that location.
I do what he says and move away from that location.
All right. So you're moving back or back from where you came or forward into the tunnel?
I move
into
forward into the tunnel. Yeah.
You move forward. What's our lineup? Who's in front? In what order are we, basically?
I guess I should be in front.
Yeah. The monk is in front. I'll take the second space.
Well, it's probably the other fairy that
Yeah, the other fairy would be next to him because they can be two abreast in here.
Okay.
And then I guess the fighter should be last because fighters are generally good at taking ambushes.
Yeah, I'll take rear guard.
All right. So after a long, very awkward almost moment, how long it's going on, something suddenly bursts out of the wall and kind of wriggles itself at Crow. It seems to be a giant earthworm, but it doesn't seem to be actively trying to attack you.
Guys, there's a giant worm here. Does anyone want to catch a giant fish?
Just after you've made your joke, there's a sudden another burst of the sound of soil moving. Another earthworm leaps out of the wall and tries to wrap itself around Snicks.
Around who?
So, what's the weird name for the Fae?
Snicks?
Snicks? Yeah,
Snakes.
Snicks? Yeah, okay. See, I had it right. What are you doubting me?
Oh no, I just couldn't hear you.
There was garbled sound.
Oh, okay. So Snicks needs to make me... Actually, no. The worm needs to try to get you.
Don't do it, worm. It's not worth your life.
A really bad AC.
Uh-oh. Does a 14 hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. So the worm wraps itself around your body, and you're a fae, so you're really stuck in this worm. This worm is about the width of, like, a small human child. Yeah, I know I have really weird measurement techniques here. But a small human child width.
I guess I wrathful smite it.
You gonna hit it
Yeah.
with your weapon?
Alright, well, roll to hit then.
I got 20 total.
Alright, that hits.
Okay, so now it needs to make a wisdom save or run away from him. Plus, it takes extra psychic damage on his attack.
How about a 17?
Does a 17 beat your spell save DC?
Top of that, right?
A 17?
Should,
Mhm.
but
Wait, what? Oh,
because it's
yeah.
frightened, or it would be frightened, but
What would my spell save DC be? It's proficiency plus ability, or
it's 8 plus ability plus proficiency.
so 15.
Yeah. So it beat the spell save DC.
Yeah, so it ain't scared.
But it takes extra damage, right?
Yes. It still takes 1d6 psychic damage. Plus whatever your normal hit is.
And my hit is plus my charisma since I'm a warlock, so it's 8 plus 5.
Okay, plus the d6.
Plus the
All right. It lets out a wet gurgle and collapses with you still wrapped up in its weirdly moist flesh.
gross, gross, gross.
Ah, this smells like home, I say.
The other worm looks somehow distressed, even though it doesn't have eyes, which is strange, and zips back into the dirt, and you can hear it like running away.
I will try to help the other warlock out of this worm embrace.
As you're untangling him from the worm, you notice in the oozing wounds that are left behind from the attack that there's something maybe glittering inside of the worm.
Who wants to go digging in this worm for maybe some metal?
It's shiny. I guess I dig in the worm.
Okay. As you dig in the worm, you find a lot of, well, worm guts, but you're also finding what look to be little pieces of maybe links of chains for necklaces or bracelets. You aren't finding right away the pendants or the jewels or anything that go with it, though. It seems like in the digestive tract itself and like the esophagus, it just seems to be a lot of the leftover metal links. You want to dig further.
Yeah, I guess I'll dig further.
Okay,
I Eldritch Blast the whole thing to bits, and then I kind of go through the bits.
if you want to do that,
I want to do that.
okay. So you blast warm worm goo all over the tunnel. And since you didn't say that you were going to protect yourselves in any way before I let this happen, you are all now coated in worm goo.
I prestidigitate myself clean.
My character starts trying to get the goo off himself.
I point at him and laugh.
There seems to be a strange extra stomach organ, perhaps, in this worm that clinks when it falls to the ground after the rest of it explodes. And when you go to open it up, it seems to have collected all of the bigger pieces of jewelry that it's eaten as it's dug through the ground.
Nice.
Some of it looks like absolute trash. Some of it looks like it might be worth something. There's what appears to be maybe a ruby necklace at one point. It's really dirty and gross.
My character runs after the other worm that ran away.
Oh, you'd have to be able to dig through the ground to get it.
Can we druidcraft it back?
Druidcraft, maybe? You could try to produce a smell that entices the worm.
I mean, you have some experience enticing animals.
I don't know what a worm mating cry sounds like, though.
But if you want to take anything, there is some larger pieces of like silver and gold chains. There's a few lockets. There's a couple rings that you're pretty sure might be fake stones, but they're still kind of glittery. That ruby necklace I mentioned, and then a couple other necklaces that look like they could be quartz, but if you're very lucky, they might be some kind of diamond. But what would a diamond necklace be doing in the middle of an earthworm?
If no one moves to take it, I do.
I
I'm
offer
gonna
to
take
clean.
it.
Yeah,
I'll
I
take a
would
couple of
say.
pieces. I mean, I'm already covered with worm gunk, so I'm
I
not
offer to
proud.
clean everyone up and the various jewelry if everyone wants to take a minute to get cleaned up.
Yes, please.
I guess that's fair, since you all did get covered in worm guts.
Yeah. Okay. So everyone slowly gets cleaned 1 5-foot cube at a time.
I think I fit in a 5-foot cube.
All right. Well, you don't hear the worm coming back, so it seems safe to continue on.
All
Yeah, I
right.
guess keep going.
What was that? We keep going? Yeah. Once everyone's clean, we keep going. And we have the jewelry clean, of course. I'm going to take one of those quartz necklaces and put it on.
Okay.
Cast druidcraft, make the smell of the worms, but raunchy.
How many rings were there?
There were 2 rings.
I took both of them.
They look like they could just be cheap tap, but they sparkle enough.
The fairies like them.
Yeah, I'll take the other quartz necklace and I'll stick that in my pack.
All right, so who's holding on to the ruby necklace?
I guess that leaves the Eldritch Blaster. Yeah.
Okay. Do you do anything with the other various silver and gold chains that made it intact to that stomach?
Anything that's remotely shiny, I try and take, even if it
Okay.
appears worthless.
Okay.
I don't have the ability yet to differentiate. I think all things are basically worth the same. I have only been on the main plane a few minutes before I get here, right?
No, you were here for like a couple days traveling with us. Of course, that
Okay.
was just in complete travel time, so you spawn in and then begin following us. So,
It was on an island where I spawned in, and then I got rescued by the pirate fairy, who's apparently been here longer.
okay.
It's a backstory.
All right, so you're able to actually push past the rest of this tunnel relatively unscathed. Other than there's a few points where you really had to hack through some roots. But at the end of the tunnel, there's a door that looks like it has mostly just become a perfect growing surface for moss. But you're pretty sure it's a door. There's like a door handle shaped lump of moss where a door handle should be.
I'll scrape off some of the moss and from the door handle area and then try to pull on the door handle.
Give me a strength check.
Oh, good. I'm great at these. Oh, 17.
All right, with a bit of tugging, you're able to coax the door to rip the moss off and kind of start to swing inwards. As you do, the other side jingles a little bit, and it looks like it has been disguised as a rack of torture equipment.
Oh, good. We're in the torture chamber. That's where I want to be. I think we should take our break here. before we go any further in, since it's about time.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and have our break, which will be no break at all for those of you watching or listening to this game. But we will see you shortly.
All right. See you in a minute.
Hi, welcome back to The Bird in the Basement. We are refreshed and ready to go after a break, and where we left off, our adventurers had just opened their tunnel door into what looked to be like possibly a torture chamber.
All right. So, I look around and look for a door out of the torture chamber because I want to be out of here as fast as possible.
I look for a shiny knife.
All right, so I'm assuming our half orc is going first because she's the one with the light right now, or I guess the Fae could go too.
I'll step through first.
Okay. Um, it is an obviously recently used torture chamber. The blood on the rack is not super fresh, but you would maybe put it at least within the past week or so.
Oh, they probably tortured you. Poor
So
girl.
there's the rack, there is one of those cages that goes over someone's head with all the spikes that can be screwed into it. There's a bunch of different flails and leather straps and shards of glass that look variously bloody, nails, hammers, just all sorts of terrible things that you could use on someone to make them talk.
I'm gonna check to see if any of the flails is a better flail than mine.
Okay, how good is your flail?
It's just a generic flail.
Okay, so you have a few options. You have a flail that looks like it's a pretty standard iron flail with a wooden handle. It is a bit bloody. The handle is a bit old. Looks like you might need to replace it, but the iron looks, fairly well, not too rusted. There also is, almost disturbingly, a flail that looks like it's a smooth iron ball attached to a iron chain to a handle of wood, but instead of spikes, it looks like glass has been embedded all around the iron. So it is a glass shard flail.
I'll pick that up and stuff it in my pack.
Okay, make a dexterity check.
17.
Okay, as you pick it up, you hear a ominous clicking sound, but nothing happens.
I will gently place it back down and step away from the table.
Does anyone... what would be a good... Let's do just a generic intellect check. Does anybody want to check out this flail?
I mean, I'll stare at
Got a
it.
16. Take a look at it.
So he got a 16.
16 our best.
Mine is a 10.
By intellect check, do you mean intelligence?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Natural 20. That would be a 23 with the modifier.
Damn, you're smart.
All right, you're able to discern that by the way that the wood looks near the bottom of the handle, that it's meant to be squeezed. And you're pretty sure that if you picked it up and squeezed, something would happen to the end of the flail. You're pretty sure by the way it's constructed, it might just shoot out shards of glass.
Do you relay that?
Yeah, I'll say I suspect this is what would happen. I don't recommend you necessarily try it with us standing here.
Everyone back in the tunnel. I'm gonna try this shit out.
Okay, is that what's happening?
Yeah, I'm going back in the tunnel if he's gonna try it.
Okay, is everybody else going in the tunnel?
Yeah, we back up.
Okay. You may proceed. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna get behind my shield, right?
Okay.
Swing it forward and then squeeze the handle.
Okay, you still need to make a dex save,
Okay.
but you can get advantage because of your shield.
All right. 2 17s. What is my dex modifier? +2, so 19s.
All right, so you hear a cacophony of the tinkling of glass against your shield, and you hear it also tinkling all around you off of the ceiling and walls. And when you lower your shield to look at what's happened, it looks like there are very tiny shards of glass and kind of almost like powdery snow all around in a dome shape from where you had held your shield up.
Nice. I'm totally keeping it. Are there still shards of glass embedded in the ball, or is it like used
Yes.
up? Okay. Yeah, I'm keeping this.
Explodey flail.
Yeah. This goes in my backpack.
Okay. Better hope that it doesn't get squished at some point.
Right. That's where I keep all my food.
You sit down to eat at the end of a long adventuring period and lean back against the wall.
Yeah.
And then you're just a cloud of, well, bloody fog. All right. So,
I motion to bring everyone back in, and I'm like, hey, it explodes.
Nice.
That might come in useful.
I recommend staying behind shields if you want to not get hit by shards of glass if I swing it.
I make my shield make a frowny face.
all right. So, is there anything else you want to inspect in the room, or you want to move on from here?
Well, the fairy wanted to check for the shiniest knife.
Shiny
All
and
right. Well, all of them are pretty bloodstained, but there is at least one knife that looks like it might have once been a fairly good chef's knife that, if you polished it up a bit, would be pretty shiny.
I take that one.
Okay. Anything else we're doing here?
Carefully looking out the door to determine if there's any guards like in the hallway.
Oh yeah, I should probably stealth out of here.
Yeah, get the sneaker guy to sneak.
I rolled an 11 for stealth, like leaving the room, like opening the door and leaving.
Okay, well, luckily for you, there isn't anyone immediately outside the door. Though down to the right, you can see there is a very, very faint light in the distance. And to the left, you can kind of hear people talking, though you can't necessarily, from this distance, make out what they're saying.
Okay. So I say, there's nobody nearby. Should I go farther?
Yeah, go towards that talking.
Okay. Yeah,
You
I
want to
go.
roll stealth while going down the hall?
I roll another stealth check. Oh man, that was a natural one. +6, which is a 7.
Okay, so
7.
you clunk your way down the hallway. And as you get closer, you can make out that it sounds like there's at least two people talking. One of them is talking about how boring this assignment is, and the other one's talking about how she's too stupid to even figure out how to get out of the cell if it was unlocked anyway.
Sounds like those guys are in on what's happening to the family.
After a moment, after I assume you sneeze or cough or something with that stealth roll, you hear one of them say, "Did you hear that?"
Run! Fly away!
I'm gonna make another stealth check to keep going quietly.
Okay.
This one I rolled a natural 20 plus 6, so 26.
It must be the wind.
So what do I see as I continue going forward?
So there's a bend in the hallway, and it sounds like the two men are just on the other round of the bend. It looks like it's actually the way out of the dungeon. The stairs would probably be over in that direction, and the other direction with the light is deeper into the actual dungeon.
So I go back to the rest of the party. I explain that it looked like out of the dungeon and ask if they think we should leave the dungeon or go deeper into the dungeon.
Let's go deeper in, like for sure. Hopefully there aren't
Yeah.
any guards down that way. Let's all go.
Do you tell us what you heard the guards say?
Yeah. Say all of that.
Because I'm thinking if the guards think she's that stupid, then that does not look good for her actually being guilty. That to me sounds like if they think that, that makes me think if it's true, then she's got to be innocent.
I agree with that assessment.
Or she was convinced by someone to do something really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or she was mind controlled.
Or she had,
oh,
no idea what was being asked of her, and she did it. Yeah.
She definitely seems to be a victim.
That happens a lot in the Feywild. The mind control.
that's terrible. I'm
We like
never
to
going
do
there.
All right, so as a party, are we going deeper into the dungeon?
Yeah.
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 All right, so as you go deeper into the dungeon, the light becomes brighter. You're passing several cells that seem to be empty. There's not much in these cells except for an area of a bit of hay that you're pretty sure is meant to like people to lay on. Many of the cells have corners that are bloody and filled with other various bodily fluids that you don't really want to think about. Um, Many of them seem like people have been there recently enough. Some of the bodily fluids seem to be still vaguely not quite dry, but for the most part, it's empty, except for what looks to be a small light outside of one of the cells. So, are you going to approach that cell?
For sure.
Yeah, it seems to be the best course of action. Yes.
I
Right.
think that one of us should present ourselves as her fairy godmother.
Are either of you female?
Well, yes.
I can't really tell. You're fairies.
My character's male, but I look like a female a little bit. Very attractive.
The opposite. My character's female but looks like a male.
Okay. Is that the plan we're going with?
Yes, that's the plan I'm going with. I
I'm
fly in
going.
front of the cell.
I'm going to approach with the fairy and be ready to completely negate everything that he's saying or that she's saying.
Okay, as you approach the cell, you see a very bored and sad looking redheaded young woman who, honestly, you can see why the prince was so smitten with a commoner. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's like an 11 in the looks department. When she notices you, she hops up like an excited puppy to see its master and way too loudly says, "Oh my god, hi!"
I'm meeting with
What?
fresh.
I'm already in trouble. What are they gonna do?
Kill
Like,
us, you fool.
Notice us.
God, oh, okay, I guess. But like, can you help me?
Yeah, that's why we're here.
My
We're gonna
boyfriend's
try.
gonna be so pissed off when they hear what people have been doing to me.
Oh, uh, gosh, sounds terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the queen one day.
I
Sure, right, about that.
Yeah.
So you were at this party and the king died, right?
Yeah, oh, did he die? I thought he just took a nap. Oh my god. He's dead? Oh no, my new daddy.
Yeah, and everyone thinks you poisoned him. We don't think that, but
No.
everyone else does.
Poison. What's poison?
I'm going to roll an insight check to determine if she's really this dumb.
Go ahead.
I also do that.
Okay,
I just think she's that dumb.
I got a 20 on this. Is she really this dumb?
The hamster in her head is half dead.
Okay.
I think that's a
The
yes.
lights are on and no
Yeah,
one's home.
she's really that dumb.
Oh, my poor summer child. I'm your fairy godmother, and I've come to take you away from here. But first, you need to tell me, did anyone give you a vial to put in someone's food?
Oh my god, you're so pretty. Is it just like the books? Do I get 3 wishes? Or do I get to have a glass shoes?
Yes.
When do I get glass shoes?
Well, right after you answer these questions.
Oh, okay. Is that part of the contract?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, okay. What question?
Uh, right. Did anyone give you a vial to put in someone's food?
To put in someone's food? Like pepper?
Yeah, like pepper. Did you put anything in anyone's food?
No, they don't let me near the kitchens. The last time I tried to go into the kitchen, Mama had to put out the fire.
So you didn't have a vial on you when they found
Oh,
you?
the vial of perfume? Yeah, the maid asked me to hold it for her. It smelled really bad, but the maid smelled really bad, so I didn't ask questions.
Oh, apparently that was perfume.
Yeah, it was just perfume.
Did anyone try the perfume?
Well, I mean, I uncorked it and smelled it. That's how I knew it smelled bad.
Maybe if we could find the perfume, we could prove her innocence.
It fell out on the floor. I'm glad it didn't break. It looked expensive. It was all weirdly green and like glittery. It was really pretty.
Maybe
Oh,
it's
do you know what happened to it? Did the guards take it or?
No, as soon as it dropped, I guess that was, I don't know, just some guards grabbed me, and I think all the haters finally got to the guards and were like, "You shouldn't marry her," and blah blah blah. And now I'm in the dungeon.
Hey, the maid is one of those haters. Do you know anything about her?
I knew it. She's so pretty. She probably wants the prince for himself. I don't know who she is. She's just always around him and like always looking at him with the eyes. You know the eyes when a girl looks at a guy that she can't have. Well, I'm prettier than her, so I got him.
Ah,
what room
I
were
know
you
the
in?
eyes.
What room were you in when you dropped the perfume?
Oh, I had to go to the little girl's room, and when I was done, she was waiting outside, and she looked very upset, and she said that she had the perfume, but she wasn't supposed to have it because, well, she probably stole it. You know how maids steal things.
Yeah.
Yep. Dang those maids.
She just wanted to make it look like he was poisoning the
What's a maid?
king.
Oh, it's a person who's a commoner, like, I guess me. I guess I'm a commoner until I'm the queen. Did I tell you I'm gonna be the queen? It's gonna be
Yeah.
amazing. Um, but like she cleans up stuff, I guess. I don't know. My dad's a merchant. He has a store.
Makes a little bit more sense now. You
So
know, brownies take everything too.
Maybe we should just talk to the
Look,
prince.
can you get a message to my boyfriend?
Yeah, we were just about to talk to him next.
Could you tell him his sweetie pie dumpling misses him? And he needs to get the haters to let me out of the dungeon.
Okay. Yeah, I
Like
think
how
we
my big
that.
wedding dress is up there, and it's so fluffy and pink and sparkly, and it can't go to waste.
Definitely. Yeah. We'll say that.
Yep.
We'll pass that along.
No, and we'll get you those glass shoes.
Oh, they'd look so good with the dress.
I'm going to motion for everyone to just follow me and say goodbye.
Yeah.
Bye, thanks for visiting me. She yells this down the hallway and it echoes.
Oh shit. Run.
Okay, we all run.
Where are you running to?
Back to the torture chamber. I'm going back to that tunnel.
I think we should convince the guards there are ghosts.
Yeah, let's go. Let's leave and then come back in through the regular door.
All right, so you're running towards the tunnel again?
Yes.
All right, you make it back to the torture chamber, but standing in the mouth of the tunnel is a stern-looking human in a suit of armor, shaking his head slowly as he uses his longsword as sort of a leaning post.
Oh, guys, it's the captain of the guard. We should talk to him.
Hey, we were just coming to see you.
I knew that. I
Yeah, we
knew that
located
she
a
would.
major security problem in your dungeon, and we wanted to make you aware.
I knew that girl would be her own security system.
I knew that.
I'm not sure that girl could tell me what was 2 oranges plus 2 oranges. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know what an orange is.
Yeah, I think you just confuse her if you asked her that question, honestly.
Only if the oranges hate her.
So I'm assuming there's a reason you broke into the castle.
Well, yeah, we uh, had been told by someone that they were fairly confident that the princess hadn't poisoned the king,
The
and
world's ugliest half-orc.
uh, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was a half orc, but
Anyways, what he said made us want to investigate, and now we've talked to the princess, and she
No,
clearly.
yeah, I don't think she's capable of doing anything, possibly not even putting one foot in front of the other.
So let
Yeah,
me get this
it
straight.
definitely is not the assassination of the king type.
So let me get this straight. A half-orc who looks like his face has been run on a cheese grater told you to solve a mystery, and you thought it was a grand idea just to break into the castle.
He didn't tell me to. He just sounded really confident that she didn't do it. and that made me want to investigate.
Not that it's really any of your business, because this is my investigation partially, but she did have the vial of poison on her.
Yeah, she said she got that from a maid.
Yeah, she said yes. She did say
Look,
that.
ask her 5 minutes from now. She'll say she got it from the pig out back who can suddenly talk. The thing barely knows reality from dreams.
I mean,
She seemed to understand what she was talking about.
she was fairly confident about this being a maid. She had some information about previously seeing her. It seemed consistent, at least.
Oh, I believe she's consistent. She's consistently stupid.
Do you, as captain of the guard, have your any opinions as to who else might have been behind this?
What opinion is there to have? The king died in his pheasant supper. It was covered in a strange poison, the same poison that the idiot girl managed to fumble out of the folds of her bodice. It's an open and shut case.
Right,
Where
but
did the idiot get the poison?
yeah. Where
She
did she get the
put it with
poison?
And
perfume.
where is it now?
The poison? Well, she is a dumb commoner girl, but for that reason, the commoners seem to actually really like her. Also, that malformed orc. Did he happen to tell you who he used to be?
No, not even
No,
close to.
Oh, so he neglected to tell you that he's the court wizard that the king fired?
didn't mention that.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
Still,
like
it
he
was
doesn't have a vested interest in, the king dying and then the person he was going to frame getting found out, but she just mysteriously disappears so that the whole case goes cold.
well. That's why I wanted to do my own investigation, and why I talked to the girl myself. And she specifically seems very clearly not to be the person who's the mastermind behind this.
But
She's not.
quite honestly, a poison that none of us have ever seen before, never smelled before, doesn't even look like anything. Where else could it come from but that damn disgraced wizard?
Okay,
Uh,
so do you want to arrest the disgraced wizard for possibly masterminding this and then determine if he did
Arrest him?
this?
it,
Arrest him. He's a match for me. Who else am I going to send out? I'm going to need help, and I am nothing to sneeze at. I don't want to know what he could do with a well-placed fireball.
I
I just
say,
want to clean up his associates and
I
connections,
am
and we'll
not
go from
fire
there.
resistant. Don't even think about it.
I'm a pretty good fighter. I'll help.
No offense, but, well, it will take about 100 of you.
Oh, that kind of wizard.
That kind of wizard.
All right.
Well, that. Well.
So my question
Where
to
do
you
we go?
now is, why don't I call guards in right now and we put to use all this wonderful equipment around you? Why should I not do that?
Well, for
Well, this
one,
equipment's very dirty. That's quite unsanitary. I mean, wouldn't you want to at least clean it first, or?
Is a half orc telling me to be more cleanly?
Well, we have been very honest with you.
and I mean, at the very least, we are on the wizard's good side, so if you wanted to perhaps have him incriminate himself and show up and be in a position where you could question him yourself, we'd be probably the best option to do that for you.
Yeah, we could help you like
I
make it
mean,
happen.
I'm fairly certain that he didn't do it because, I mean, a wizard doesn't need that much poison to kill a king. He can just snap his fingers and say you're dead.
Yeah, who was it that would benefit from the girl taking the fall? Well, I guess all the people that didn't want the prince marrying her. Who is that? Is there like a leader of that organization, or is that just a bunch of people?
Every noble ever, every royal that has any royal blood in their veins. They don't
Yeah.
want a commoner taking a seat next to the throne, even if she would just be a queen consort.
This may sound like an unconnected question, but I have my reasons for asking. How well did the prince and his father get along?
Mm, well enough. I mean, I would say it's no different than any other father-son relationship. Were there times where it was strained? Yes, but at the end of the day, there was always a lot of respect for the prince to his father. He is very broken up about this whole thing. He is, well, to be honest, this is not very regal of him, but he actually collapsed after it was declared his father was dead and he had to be carried to his bedchambers where he's been in there trying to recover and get back his strength so that he can plan his coronation to take the reins of the kingdom and the investigation.
I see.
Hmm. So, yeah, I mean, there's no particular reason why you should arrest or torture us. I mean, especially not torture. We have no information that we wouldn't volunteer to you. If you wanted
Yeah,
to throw us in cells, then I could see why you'd do that for us entering the castle, but it still wouldn't be particularly helpful to you, especially at this time where we could, you know, actually be useful investigators.
I mean, unless you want to do it for fun.
I mean, we were leaving.
How about this? You all are fairly brightly dressed. Am I to assume that you were perhaps the entertainment for the reception?
I,
Well,
s-
yes.
I
We
pull
were
out
meant
my
to
lute
be.
and strum it.
There's got to
Uh,
be a wedding for us to get paid, right?
I tell you what, I'm going to hold one of you as collateral. The rest of you, I want you to go in. Well, maybe not go in. We'll figure out the logistics, but you're going to provide some entertainment for the prince to cheer him up. And that will be your penance for what you've done. But if the prince does not like your performance or does not cheer up, then your friend that I'm holding as collateral gets to use that rack over there.
I always wanted to be taller.
All right, I think we have a volunteer.
Uh, yeah. We could talk to the friend.
All right, I will have my men escort you up to where the prince is held. Remember, tread lightly. He did just lose his last parent, but, well, sometimes a good laugh heals more wounds.
Uh-huh.
All right, we can manage that. Hopefully. I mean, there's a good chance that he won't laugh at anything, but at least we can try to cheer him up with some good lute playing.
All right, he's going to take the uh, take the Fae and chain them to the rack, but not actually use it. And then two guards are going to come in and escort the rest of you through the castle to where the prince is holed up in his bedchamber.
So I'll slowly be strumming my lute as I approach the bedchamber.
The maids and other servants of the castle like raise an eyebrow and like, why is there a performer in the castle at this time? King just died. This is strange. But ultimately, it's above their pay grade, so a few curious children of servants trail behind at just enough distance to maybe they're not actually following to watch what happens.
All right.
So you get to the bedchamber. It's a very opulent door. It looks fitting for the heir of a kingdom. Gold, gilt, pictures of cherubs painted on, all the over the top stuff that royals with way too much time and money get themselves up to. The guard knocks sharply on the door, and there's a very faint, "This better be good." The guard opens the door and says, "I'm very, very sorry, my lord, to interrupt you in your time of, reflection and grief, but the captain of the guard has sent you something to perhaps cheer you up a bit." Cheer me up? If he says, I guess, whatever. The guard opens the door the rest of the way and motions for you to enter the room, though he very obviously shows you the long dagger that he wears at his hip as a warning. When you enter the chamber, the prince is very pallid, very weak looking in his bed, with giant dark circles around his eyes, and his hair very greasy and mussed. Why did you get sent to me?
So at that point, I burst into song, and it is a bawdy, tawdry barroom song. Probably like as raunchy as I can find one that I remember.
Roll your performance.
Okay.
3
Holy
glasses of
shit!
booze. Ooh.
Natural 20 plus 7.
This song stirs something in me.
Exciting.
I'm not sure this is appropriate feelings for the circumstances. Why would the captain send this to me?
Well, I believe he was hoping to cheer you up, but additionally, we've been investigating the whole issue separately.
He pales just a bit more, which is quite a feat at the mention of the situation. Oh, that right. So he sent a lewd bard to investigate?
I don't think that he thought that we should be investigating, but we thought, well, we were brought here to perform, and
Hold on. Can people actually do that with their tongue, like in your song?
oh yeah, it's it's actually kind of difficult, but when you manage it,
Gotta get that split tongue.
Oh, wow. Okay. I need to talk with some people, but anyway, continue.
right? So the last we had managed here was that your previously betrothed was given this vial by a maid.
Look. I know I was going to marry her. Look, I know you can see why. If
Yes,
you've spoken to her, you can see why.
quite.
But you know that nothing that comes out of her mouth you can actually believe.
Or understand.
This girl told me in all seriousness that her cat talked to her every day, and that its name wasn't really Fluffy like her mom had named it, but it was Sir Meow Meow.
I see.
She is several forks short of a kitchen set.
She's not a mastermind.
She is not a mastermind, which is why the poison fell out at the most opportune moment. I know what she wanted. She's always been talking about when she becomes queen. That's all she's ever talked about. My father was standing in the way of that. She's just too dumb to have gotten the timing right.
So, my guess is that, and this is just supposition, someone else may have pushed her into doing this task. And
Pushed her? Okay. Even if she was pushed, she was still complacent.
oh no, I don't know one way or another whether or not she intentionally did this, but even if she did, I feel that, well, your life itself might be at risk if there's someone else who could push this on her.
Maybe you're right. I have felt really ill since that night. I don't know if maybe maybe tried to be poisoned too and it just didn't work. Maybe she was trying to, she really is dumb enough. Maybe she thought that if she killed both of us, she could still be queen.
Or she was not the only one poisoning at the time. It's entirely possible that she and someone else were sent to poison the both of you.
I suppose, but I still think you just don't understand. Every night and day, every time I would see her, it would be inane chattering about when she was queen and can we get a pony when she's queen and when she's queen can she make everyone wear sparkles. She really wanted to be queen, and no matter how many times I explained to her she wouldn't immediately be queen, it just never got through to her.
Hmm.
Well, if she thought that she'd be immediately queen, then why would she poison the king? She would just assume that she would be queen the moment that she married you.
I don't know, but isn't there a saying that the most likely answer is usually the answer?
There is a saying to that effect, I believe, but, well, I think that there is too much going on here to assume that the quickest and most direct route is the only one.
Right, and there
And
are
your safe
exceptions to every rule.
exactly. Your safety is more important, especially at this time. So perhaps it's time to get someone to investigate further into where she got the poison or where the poison came from if it wasn't only her poisoning.
And I'd still like to know where the poison is now. I'd kind of like to get a look at it.
Well, I'm not exactly sure where the poison is. It was taken away as soon as it was found so that it would be safely stored. I assume the captain of the guard knows where that location is. I mean, otherwise, I think you're wasting your time in looking for anyone else. It's obvious that I've made the wrong choice of partners, and she just got too greedy and too stupid to follow through with her plan correctly. Um, but I won't directly stand in your way.
Well, I hope that my song has assisted your feelings to some extent and educated you. It is, of course, my utmost desire to educate everyone as much as I can.
So just there's one part of the lyrics that I just don't quite understand. Um, were you singing about what I thought you were when you were singing about my lovely lady lumps?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I may want to hire you sometime for some private parties.
You have my contact information. I'll be at the inn. I give him the name of the inn all night.
Secondarily, I now wonder why my father was hiring you for the reception.
I think he was hoping to get you to produce your own heir as soon as possible.
Perhaps. Seems like a strange choice for a wedding dance, but okay.
Oh, I do know other songs. That was just, I believe, my favorite.
Well, you did sing it so well.
The passion. I'm not here to.
You are dismissed. I think I need some rest.
I nod in motion for my
Actually,
friend.
wait. A half orc and a fairy? Wait, are you guys a band? Because that would make a really weird band.
We, uh,
Well,
we are performers that work together, but I don't think we've yet formed a band.
A fairy, what do you do?
oh, well, actually, I play the flute, and I also do acrobatics.
Oh wow, acrobatics with that song. Might be on to something there.
Yeah.
Aerial acrobatics.
Half orc, what do you do?
Actually, I'm kind of a more of the behind the scenes member. I write a lot of the songs that they perform.
Did you write that one?
I did, actually.
Wow, you know, you have some talent. Um, yeah, I'll be in contact with you too.
Okay.
Okay, as you turn to leave, you notice that the guard who's been standing in the doorway watching you has to kind of like do a shuffle walk out of the door sideways with his dagger held in front of him. And his voice cracks as he goes, So, that went well.
Well, we were hired by the previous king. He knew what he was doing.
I think I learned some things about myself.
Oh, good. It's always
Um,
my favor to educate.
so where can I escort you to next?
Well, we do need to retrieve our last member from the dungeon, and then after that, perhaps we should probably find time at the end to sleep. It has been a long time of travel.
Okay, well, I can definitely get you back to the dungeon. As he turns to lead you back down the hallway that you came, you notice a maid come, basically happily skipping down the hallway, carrying a bunch of what look to be steaming warm, wet rags. Um, and she sees you coming out of the prince's room, and suddenly stops her skipping, puts on a serious face, and puts her head down to pass you to go into the prince's room.
Does she look really nice or only moderately okay?
Are you talking looks?
Yes.
She's fairly pretty. On the scale, she's probably like a 7 or an 8.
Okay. Hmm. I will memorize her face.
Okay. She is, I'd say it's fairly standard commoner girl, but obviously for a maid, she's done up her hair really well. Like taken a lot of time into pinning her curls into place to look as best as they could. And it looks like she's actually taken some ash from a fireplace and like rimmed her eyes and probably done the whole pinch her cheeks technique and like maybe stain her lips with some berries or something. She looks pretty well made up to just be scrubbing latrines all day.
Okay. Well, I'm not particularly great at anything that would work to question her, so does anyone else want to try and stop her, or are we just gonna go retrieve our member?
By the way, you notice as she shuffles past the guard, He groans slightly and says, "That didn't help."
Cod pieces, man.
Yeah, I think we just go back.
Okay. But I will memorize her face.
Okay. So you're escorted back to the dungeon. It looks like for funsies, the captain of the guard has like racked the rack up to a point where it's almost torture. Just like the fairy in the rack is taunt, not tortured, but he's kind of elevated, or it is elevated off the table a little bit by the chains.
I mean,
So this has been a fun game, but you can let me down now.
Stop whining. You said you wanted to be a bit taller. It's been a long time since I've done this kind of stuff myself. I kind of miss it. The screams had a kind of pleasure to it.
Definitely. I totally see what you mean.
let's
Maybe
let our
fix that.
friend down now. We do need it in one piece.
Wait.
I was with the other
We
fairy.
had a deal. Did the prince laugh?
He did a lot more than laugh.
Elaborate.
Well, I sung him, I just rattle off a couple lines,
You
and
tried to seduce the prince?
I tried to
He
make sure
successfully seduced the prince.
I, I tried to make sure that the prince would have a good time this night.
With whom? Oh.
Himself, hopefully?
He's a prince. I'm sure he will have no lack of women who are wanting for him. Or men. We're an equal opportunity kingdom.
Yeah, the song generally suggests that women and men are important to the whole situation.
Yes, well, not what I intended. But I suppose I can let this thing go. He lets the chains off of the Fae and you are free.
I like rub my wrists and get down. Blair.
I can glance over at her and see if I can tell if she's any taller or not.
Might just be a trick of the light, but like a millimeter? Maybe. You will notice, Faye, that your back actually feels better than it ever has. Like you got a really good back crack out of that.
It's not the worst place to spend a couple minutes.
Well, I suppose the prince probably didn't know very much, I'm assuming.
No, he did suggest that you would know where the poison that fell out of the bride-to-be's bodice would have ended up.
Yes, I believe the new court wizard took it to analyze it to try to figure out where it came from and what exactly it is. He looked at it very curiously. I don't think he's ever seen anything like it before either. If you want to talk to the court wizard, I feel free. He is a very strange man. I don't know why we hired a dwarf, and why he's a wizard as a dwarf, but they don't pay me to ask questions.
I mean, they literally pay you to ask questions. Your investigation is like one of the most important skills that you have, isn't it?
Look, I don't ask where my gold comes from. Side note, you're really starting to get what the initial half-orc was telling you about brawn over brains.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Let's
go
go
talk.
interrogate some maids.
And the wizard.
Where do you want to go first? Try to find some maids or the wizard?
Well, there's only one maid we're really interested in. I think we should start with her.
Oh yeah, do we know which maid it is?
It is almost certainly the one that we passed on the way back.
Yeah.
Oh. Uh,
Oh, you think you know who it is?
We know.
We should scare the absolute crap out of her.
God.
I'm for that.
Okay, let's go grab her.
Do you mind if we go grab this maid and question her?
Now you want to go around questioning the castle staff.
I mean, there's
Did the
really.
prince say you could do it?
Yep.
I believe so.
Okay, if I find out something different, my sword has your names on it.
But he did say he wouldn't stand in our way. That's sort of
Yeah, it was
permission, right?
tacit
Do you
permission.
want us to go back and ask him?
It's fine. I need to be busy arranging security detail for the king's funeral anyway.
All right.
That's an important job. I bet you do a good job at it.
All right, thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be captain of the guard without, being good at my job.
One would
Just
hope, right?
Makes
don't kill anyone or break anyone without a good reason, okay?
Sounds good.
Not
Also,
without a good
don't
reason.
use this tunnel anymore.
Oh.
We don't want anyone to know about it. Just go out the front door and tell them, where did I write down his name?
Your tunnel's got worms, man.
Yes, those. We're investigating that too. Tell them that Charles de Lambert said it was okay for you to leave through the front gates.
Okay. Thank you.
That means the big one, right?
Yes, close enough.
Cool. I can insist that they open the gate then. Well, I won't say
I
that.
mean, technically.
We should call them.
Unfortunately for you, the drawbridge is already lowered.
Well, that makes it easy then.
Plus, you can just fly over the walls. I mean, nothing really stopping fairies, but you know.
But there's something about, well, archers. Definitely archers. Do you know how many archers they have? I counted. It's like 17. And I bet even like 6 can shoot well.
The guard groans deeply and is like, did he just say like 17? Did him and this girl get along very well?
Surprisingly, I believe that he's her fairy, or she's her fairy godmother.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what?
they were talking clothes and shoes and all
Please,
that.
let's just part ways here. There's only so much stupidity I can take in a day. I'm getting a headache.
Don't speak to the girl then.
Believe me, I take great pains to never get near her cell.
Probably don't talk to this maid either. It's just for the best.
What maid?
Never mind.
Okay.
Away.
All right, he leaves to let you do what you're gonna do.
Okay.
So, are we just gonna talk to her, or are we gonna do more than that?
I think we're going to talk to her after scaring her, or scare her while talking to her. I'm not actually.
First, you have to find her.
Yeah.
Someone like morph into a wolf and sniff her down or something. You guys can do that, right? My friends could do that. Anyways.
I can look for her. I roll a perception.
You're rolling to look for her in the dungeon?
Yeah, where are you guys going first?
Let's go to the kitchens. There are always maids in the kitchens.
Okay, you can go
Probably
to
a
the
good
kitchen.
idea.
You raise a few eyebrows, but everybody in general looks kind of too busy to care. It looks like they're putting together like cold sandwich platters, and one of them's mumbling about trying to remember how to make funeral potatoes. Whatever that is.
Great.
I think it's
I
fun, but I'm not going to correct him.
Probably try some of the bedrooms, or where did
no
your boss?
no we can ask about the maid who we saw bringing hot rags to the prince.
Hmm.
So
Hey,
who
do
are you
you
gonna
know
ask?
anything about the prince's maid? Is she like trying to get with him or something?
Are you just saying this to the room full of maids and
Oh
cooks?
no, so I'm going to go talk to the head of house,
Just to the room full of kitchen stuff.
who I assume is in the kitchen.
So like the head cook essentially.
I
That's usually who that responsibility seems to go to.
either that or the
Well,
butler.
the paddling.
Or the butler. Do you want the maid or the butler?
Let's
The head maid or the head butler?
let's talk to the head maid.
Okay. Um all right. So the head maid looks to be like a woman, probably her late 50s, early 60s, very stern expression. She looks very tired. In her hand is a potato peeler, and next to her is probably like 50 pounds of peeled potatoes. When you approach her, she looks at you, rolls her eyes, and says, What else did somebody break?"
Nothing yet. We were sent here to ask about. I described the maid's face.
Wait, that that description. Did she look like she was charted up to go to a party, but there's no party to go to?
Unless the
That's the
party is the funeral, then yes.
Ugh. That girl is more trouble than she's worth to be on staff. She's always trying to slip her way into getting access to the prince. Poor girl doesn't realize that he's never gonna turn his eye to a maid, though. I mean, he didn't find much better, did he? Maybe she
So,
does stand a chance.
so
She
maybe
stands
she
a
could
bit
have.
more of a chance right now than she normally would, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. What do you want to know?
So,
Do you know where she might have gotten the poison?
no, I don't know about the poisons. Yeah, so we were told that there was a chance that she had given a perfume vial to another person. Was she seen carrying any such vial? It would have been green, sparkling.
To be quite honest, I don't pay all that much attention to her, but I know that she does try lots of various perfumes to try to get the prince to look her way.
All right.
What they look like and what she would have on her, I have no clue.
Does she have any friends among the staff?
Yes and no. I would say she has girls that try to get close to her because, well, especially the young ones kind of look up to her as she tries to be somewhat of a heartbreaker. Uh, but really, once the older girls know that she's just trouble walking, someone like that's gonna find herself in the wrong man's bed and be chased out in the middle of the night by an angry wife at some point.
Hmm. Well, thank you for your time. If you don't mind, would like to question a few of your younger girls about this specific circumstance.
Sure. I have them scrubbing the entryway right now so that we can put down the good rug for carrying out the casket.
All right, and I think if it's okay, we might want to pause there for the evening since we're just now at time.
All right, that sounds good. I hope you enjoyed our game for the day. This has been the first episode of whoever knows however many this will turn into of The Bird in the Basement. I hope that you enjoyed it enough to maybe like, comment, and subscribe. And also, well, if you're watching us on YouTube. If not, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. You can find our other episodes as podcasts and also on YouTube. We have quite a few going back for quite a while, so there's a lot of content to watch. Does anybody have anything to say before we wrap up?
No, I think it was a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that we get to do it again soon.
Yeah.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed. Bye.
See you next time.
Bye. Oh, actually, I do have one thing to say.
What's
Our
that?
Facebook is Fallen Dragons RPG. Our Twitter is at dragons_RPG, and our Discord is Fallen Dragons RPG, all one word. So if you want to meet us there and talk to us on any of those platforms, we're available pretty much all the time. Maybe not all the time if you're like in Europe and we're asleep, but you know what I mean. All right, have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.